एयर प्योरीफायर सारे फजूल हैं, हम खरीदते क्यों हैं?
हमें इंपोर्ट करने का शौक है। आप खुद भी प्योरीफायर बना सकते हो, लेकिन नहीं, चलो लाख रुपए खर्चें।
सस्ते दाम में काम तमाम।
मुस्तफा रहमान का है यही काम। सांस नहीं आ रहा मुझे। सांस नहीं आ रहा। सांस आ रहा है।
यार मुस्तफा, आजकल ट्रैफिक इतनी ज्यादा यार, इतनी कंजेशन हो गई है लाहौर में।
यार लोगों ने इतने इतने बच्चे कर दिए हैं और अब वो कहीं जा ही नहीं रहे। वो रोडों में आ गए।
Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to another video on this channel. My name is Ahmed Jamal Vattu. I am your host as always. I am a consultant with the World Bank in Washington DC. I work remotely from Lahore. And with me is my guest for today, Mustafa Rahman. Mustafa works in sustainable finance for large financial corporations, and he's going to be talking to us about the air quality issue in Lahore. What causes smog? We'll be talking also about PM 2.5 particles, the best air purifiers which you can find on the market and which you could possibly make in your own home. So first of all, thank you so much, Mustafa, for joining us.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you for having me.
And what people don't know is that Mustafa and I went to school together. We both went to HSN, graduated in the same year, 2015. So really excited to be speaking with you also as a friend, but also as a host for this podcast.
And amazing to talk about something that's so important and prevalent. It's such a prevalent issue that I think not enough people are talking about.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. So let's start with our first question, which I have for you, which is कि हम कहते हैं कि जो PM 2.5 particles हैं, these are extremely harmful for you. Like these are very small. They can even go through N95 masks. So there's not really many ways you can protect yourself against these PM 2.5 particles, and these are extremely hazardous, as you know. So what makes these PM 2.5 particles hazardous for human beings?
Yeah, so just to take from what you were saying, these can also go through your windows. So your seals in your houses, you're not protected from them just by closing the door or closing the window. They go through. What makes them hazardous is that they're very reactive. They're very charged particles. So all these greenhouse gases, we have nitrogen oxides, we have sulfur oxides, we have carbon oxides, all different variations that are extremely harmful. And we know that they're carcinogenic, and we know that they lead to so many health issues. So what these particles do is that they interact with these gases and bind to them. And what ends up happening is that the weight of those gases make them kind of start floating around. So when we think it's fog, it's actually just smoke. It's not even smog. It's just smoke, and then eventually it becomes smog. So I think the reason why they're so destructive is they get all these harmful gases, and they make sure that those gases are always in front of us everywhere we go. So that's what it is basically.
Bilkul, Bilkul. Thank you for that explanation. And we also know that these PM 2.5 particles in the air, they lead to places like Pakistan having very high AQI readings. So what are AQI readings? How do we come to that figure of which we recently saw in Pakistan, 2,800 in Lahore at one point. This last month of November, we had average readings of 400 in just Lahore alone. In Multan, we had a high of 2,000 AQI. So what brings us to these numbers? And I think I understand this to be true कि a lot of times scale से भी ऊपर वो reading चली जाती है AQI की.
Yeah. So like I'm laughing, but I should be crying. This AQI is basically your air quality index. So similar to like, let's say, financial instruments, or there are always indexes or different ways of measuring something, right? So an air quality index, and if you just Google it up and just write, air quality meter, you'll realize that most of these meters end at 500. From it being very unhealthy at like 300 to being hazardous beyond 300. And we have reached up to 2,800 in Gulberg on November 14th. And you can check this. The average was 1,100, but Gulberg was 2,800. And I checked this myself. So we're talking about hazardous multiplied by a few times, which they don't even have a word for it. It's absolutely toxic. So that really goes to show the seriousness of the problem. Because this is actually a very, very serious condition.
Absolutely. And when we're in the outdoors, there are very limited options for us to protect ourselves from harmful PM 2.5 particles. So I mean, are masks completely obsolete? Like, are masks really helpful in protecting us against smog? Because maybe N95 masks, like as we mentioned earlier, they don't give us fully the protection which we need. So, what are the other things which we can use to fully protect ourselves when we go outside?
Yeah, so essentially, we all need to be wearing hazmat masks, those ones with two cylinders on the side that you see in those movies, those post-apocalyptic movies. Like, essentially, we need to be wearing those because these N95 masks, these masks that were lesser than those that were popularized during Corona, uh, they don't work because Corona was still kind of somewhere in the air. This is all the air. So even if you're wearing a mask, if there's any outdoor air coming in without it passing through the filter, it's basically toxic. So masks aren't enough, and we shouldn't worry about if how do we look when we're wearing those big hazmat masks because that is the need of the hour.
Absolutely. So we shouldn't be stigmatizing the use of hazmat masks, even as funny as they may look. They are very useful in protecting us and give us enough protection against PM
Yeah,
2.5 particles.
especially if you're below 10 or above 50. I mean, you should like that. There is no question
Yeah,
about that.
very cool. And when we go back to protecting ourselves indoors from smog, like in our homes, so I've heard that there are some contraptions like jute bags which can be used to protect us. So could you please talk a little about that?
So this issue, smoke issue, is not a new issue. I think India, China, all of these countries that have massive industries have faced this issue, right? And they've built solutions around them. So this is a transfer of technology that is happening now, and everybody should look into it. India has done a lot of work around it, and basically what they're doing is they're layering jute bags and passing water through it, and then putting a fan behind it. And basically, what that does is the water or the waterfall that's passing through the jute bags is cleaning up the air before it comes to the house. So essentially, you don't need to block off the PM 2.5 particle. You just need to make sure that the water is kind of cleansing the air. And basically, other solutions are जो आपके घरों में water coolers जो पंखे होते हैं that are widely used throughout Pakistan, you could just reverse them. So the fan could be turned in the opposite direction and it passes through those sheets जहाँ से वो पानी, those layers of water are accessible to the air before passing it through the room. So that would basically clean up your air.
Amazing, amazing. This no one I think knew this before Mustafa just mentioned कि jute bags को भी use किया जा सकता है to protect us in our houses. तो उसके अलावा Mustafa, I wanted to talk to you about this कि a lot of the air purifiers we see in the market, they also come with ionizers. So are PM 2.5 particles positively charged and उनको ionize करने से, उनको negatively charged करने से, what is the real benefit which we gain from doing this?
Yeah, so these are, like I said in the beginning, these are charged particles, right? So these are positively charged. They're looking to kind of combine with these gases. So what an ionizer essentially does is it throws out negative ions, which basically changes the charge of these particles and makes them stick to nearby surroundings. Thereby, basically, if they're levitating, they just fall. They just drop to the floor, or attach themselves to the ceiling or the walls, and that allows the gases to kind of escape because the particle has been removed. But I think it's not removed; it's just paralyzed for a bit. So you'll have to have those ionizers turned on at all times. It's not the perfect solution, but it's something that China, for example, has massively produced at very low costs, and to the point that they have these portable ionizers that you could just wear around your neck, and they'll create like a small bubble for you. And I actually ordered one from AliExpress, and it was 2,000 rupees, and I tested it, and it works like a charm.
Amazing, amazing. So we can use ionizers as well so that we can negatively charge these PM 2.5 particles so that they stick more easily to surfaces and are not in the air. So when they're in the air, there's a chance that you can inhale them and then they can stay in your body for a very long period of time and causing a lot of harm. So thank you for that, Mustafa. And now I wanted to talk to you about the best air purifiers in the market right now. Which ones should people buy? I understand that they're extremely expensive nowadays, but what's the best investment you can make for an air
So
purifier?
essentially, I think Xiaomi. Xiaomi is, I think, one of the biggest brands in China. It's a whole ecosystem. Uh, uh, I really like their technology. Their software is good. Their AQI sensors are good. Their laser particle sensors. Their fans are good. Their filters are good. but they're expensive, and because of the dollar fluctuation in the last few years, they've become very expensive. Uh, Maybe it would cost you like ₹500,000 to make sure that the house in your the air in your house is clean, and that's too much. But it would be the most accurate solution for you. Obviously, there are other brands as well, like Bureau and Philips and all these other brands. But a lot of the times you can get those expensive brands, but their filters won't easily be available 2, 3 years from now. So that's a problem that a lot of people have been facing. So there's definitely the luxury brands, right, that are above 50,000, and you don't need one of those. You need a few of those to make sure that your children and your parents are safe.
तो मुस्तफ़ा, as you rightly pointed out कि जो imported air purifiers हैं, they are extremely expensive and unaffordable to most of Pakistanis. जैसे आपने कहा कि एक बड़े घर के लिए you need to spend at least ₹500,000 to fully purify the air inside. So I understand कि you've created your own air purifiers which are completely homemade and they're extremely affordable relative to these foreign brands के air purifiers. So walk us through the
Yeah.
inventions.
So just a disclaimer, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to tell you how to do it yourself. Uh, because I made them for myself, because I couldn't spend $500,000 to have the most accurate system, the best system, so I just created it for myself. So essentially, let's start with the basics. Uh, there are three parts to an air purifier, right? There's a fan, which is basically an exhaust. There's a body or a container, and then there's the filter, right? So I'm sure all of us know how an exhaust fan functions, right? It pulls air from one side and throws the air out to the other side, right? So essentially, if you have a fan, and this is a cheap fan, ₹300 from Hall Road, and this is a cutout plastic bottle, you put it here, and on the other side, you put an electrostatic cotton sheet, which is easily available. It's designed to capture charged particles. It's designed to, you know, block these particles from passing through. So, and it's like ₹100 a sheet, right? So essentially, all you need to do is make such a contraption and maybe make 3, 4 of those, one for every room, and you have a purifier for under ₹500, which I think is as good as some of these devices that are selling for 20, 25,000 rupees.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Loved the presentation. So, इसके अलावा we also have something at the back. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so that's the ₹500 solution. Now let's talk about, let's say, the 5 to 6,000 rupee solution. Uh, this is basically an exhaust fan from all these local companies make them. They're basically designed for false ceilings. So there's Royal fans, Park fans, GFC fans. They're abundant. You get this for 3 or 4,000 rupees. So essentially, what you do is you take the exhaust fan, or you just pull it out of the false ceiling, and you take off the cap. Once the cap is off, now what you need is a filter. And you can get these filters off of Daraz. They're called HEPA filters, H12, H13, H11. They're different grades of the same material. So this is basically the same electrostatic sheet, but in lots of folds, which basically increases the life and the surface area of the thing. And all you need to do is basically set this up and plug it in. You don't even have to glue it or anything. You just put the filter on top and you turn it on. And what it'll do is it'll suck the air through here and push it out through here. And you have a working air purifier for, I think, 5 to 6,000 rupees. And this will be as good as, I think, a 40,000 rupee device that's selling in the market. So that's the second solution. And I also have one more thing, which is something that I built for myself. Was basically it's just a laser cut plastic box with 2 of those fans that I showed you earlier that I got from Hall Road, and just a dimmer and a few other things to make it more friendly to use and safe if you have children around. And essentially, I sell these on my website as well, and my goal is to also make these as affordable as possible. And they work like a charm. I've worked with experts, engineers in the Navy to actually build this product, and they've tested all on all scales. But essentially, the technology, the underlying technology, is what I've shown you. So yeah, this is it. This is my brand. It's called Aire, AIRE, and I'm working towards making sure that every Pakistani gets access to a 500 to 1,000 rupee air purifier if they want.
Absolutely. So clean air doesn't have to be expensive in Pakistan. I think products like this are making a big difference. They're making a big dent in the market because we need to break the hegemony of these foreign companies putting large surcharges on air purifiers, which used to be half the price only a couple of years ago. And literally the prices of foreign air purifiers have doubled and tripled over the years.
To the
So
point that they're selling in black these days.
exactly.
For like 20, 30,000 rupees on top. Like, that's madness.
Exactly. So air purifiers like this one, which Mustafa made, cost around 5,000 to 6,000 rupees. This is great as it's affordable to most sections of society who want to breathe clean air in their own houses. So thank you, Mustafa.
Thank you.
Saleh, and that is the end of our podcast today. I hope you got a lot of value from this video. I certainly did. And I hope to see you, inshallah, in the next episode from myself and Mustafa. Take
Yeah,
care.
and if you have any questions, please let us know. We're happy to help. You need more information on how to do these things, where to get the filters from, where to get the electrostatic sheets from. Just put them in the comments, and we'll make sure to reply to you guys and put the links for you guys there, so that all of us can create that change that we wish to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So take care, everyone. All the best. And also, at the end of, as soon as I end this video, we're going to be showing a practical presentation of Mustafa's products, the air purifier which he made, the 500 rupee one, as well as the 6,000 rupee one, which you can see here, so that you can see what the components are, how he made these, and can hopefully gain more value from this. Take care. Thank you. Allah Hafiz. 500 रुपए में आप अपने घर में अपना एयर प्योरीफायर कैसे बना सकते हैं? Let's find out from Mustafa.
So guys, this is it. This is the 500 rupee air purifier. 300 for the fan, 100 rupees for the cotton sheet, and just your plain plastic bottle.
Yeah, let's talk about the science behind it. इसमें how does this protect us from PM 2.5 particles?
So this is basically an electrostatic cotton sheet. It's easily available. 100 rupees की आपको मिल जाती है.
Yeah.
This is basically a GPU या computer fan जो आपकी basically servers वगैरह को ठंडा करने के लिए होता है. So hall road पे आपको ये 300 तक का मिल जाएगा. And this is just a plastic bottle. So essentially ये एक exhaust की तरह act करता है, and it just pulls the air through here. So वो PM 2.5 जो एक charged particle होता है, वो इस electrostatic sheet के साथ चिपक जाता है.
Okay.
And you get clean air coming out of this.
Amazing. And like you said, the total cost is way less than जो आजकल air purifiers आपको market में मिल रहे हैं, and it does the job.
Yeah, 500. Like total cost is 500, and it works like a charm. It's actually better than a lot of those because इसकी जो speed है, it's actually better than जो clean air deliverability rate होता है, उसका वो बहुत बेहतर है in बड़े purifiers से. So just is that really that easy?
Amazing. And how much square footage of a room does this cover? Because ये छोटी सी चीज़ है. So compared to like the other air purifiers जो market में हैं, which you have to buy, and they're exorbitantly expensive. तो ये कितने आपको लगाने पड़ते हैं in a room as big as this one? This is like a medium-sized room which we're in. तो इसमें कितने आपने use करने हैं?
Yeah, so considering this is like a 300 square foot room, so what I did was I took this, and this is something that I created, basically a body, a plastic body of sorts, and I put 2 of those fans right here, as you can see, 2 of those fans. And I just took a filter. ये आराम से दराज पे मिल जाता है. It's one of those HEPA filters, H13. So, and I just put it here. So the air goes through this, and it comes out through here. And this one covers around 650 square feet. Basically 2 of these fans, right? So each one of these fans is enough for, let's say, 300 square feet. So essentially that's it. That's all you need.
Amazing. Yeah, this is just great information for the viewers who are struggling with air quality, especially in Lahore, जहाँ आजकल AQI is extremely high. उसके it doesn't even come in the scale जो AQI का scale होता है, उससे भी exceed कर जाते हैं आजकल AQI के numbers. जैसे पिछले दिनों 2000 AQI थी लाहौर में in some parts of Gulberg, and मुल्तान की अगर बात करें तो मुल्तान also topped the AQI ratings in the country.
Yeah, it was actually 2,800 on top of Gulberg. Like the average was 1,100 in Lahore, but it went up to 2,800 in Gulberg. And these are like proper readings that come from aggregated sources, right? So this is credible data.
So bro, like you said, homemade inventions like these can be really helpful.
The second homemade invention that I had was, again, this filter, you get it off of Daraz. And I took like जो false ceiling वाले fans होते हैं, right? The exhaust fans. So this is what a false ceiling exhaust fan looks like, right? इसका बस मैंने ऊपर वाला cover उतारा हुआ है. So all you need to do is basically paste this on top of that and leave it on your room and just put it in the plug. And it works. It's an air purifier for, I think, 3,000 for this, and I think 2,000 for this specific one because ये काफी अच्छी चीज है. So 5,000 में you have like a proper setup. You won't even need to create like a box and do the fancy stuff that I've done. You could just have this in your house, and I'm sure you've already seen this contraption in your false ceilings. Like it's a very simple device. So you can also order this off of online platforms or go to the market yourself and just get these two things.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Mustafa. Hope everyone finds this video useful, and we'll be back with another one.